Today we're going to finish very quickly because there is nothing much to talk about the chapter that deals with methodology. And just to recap very quickly, what is this all about? Methodology, it's not a chapter that Kardec dedicates to method of mediumship proper, but it's a method of how to communicate, how to share with those who are interested, of course, what we learn with this doctrine, to let people know what this is all about. Kardec says in the very first paragraph of this chapter that it is very natural that you have this movement of trying to get everyone involved, to share what we think is good. Is actually an act of charity. If it's good for me, it should be good for most people, and therefore I want to share with everyone else. But the first question to have to question is everyone else interested? And Kardec provides to us in this chapter suggestions on how to answer this question. Who is truly interested? Who's just want to waste our time? Who will combat and be against it regardless of all the reasoning, all the intelligent information you provide to them? And for those who are not in that group, for those who are actually would be interested, if you provide to them reason, you provide to them arguments that is in accordance with science, that does not reject reason, that does not reject intelligence, most people would actually be interested. It's how to approach them, how to speak with them. These are the methodology in this chapter is all about. And this very last part we're going to read now is just a suggestion on for those who are interested in read. What should you present them as reading material to start their own personal journey at their own rate, at their own pace, without imposing anything? But there's a suggestion that Kardec gives to us, and I think it's quite reasonable. Of course it is. And just anticipating here that Kardec will tell or offer the suggestion for what was written at the time. Okay? So, of course, we only present two books of the codification because there are only two books that was written at that time of the publication of this book. And for us today, we have some other, I would say easily without fear, some 700 books out there that could be used. Okay? So in the very beginning of the doctrine, that's what we had available, and if we were there at that time, that suggestions of reading that it could offer those individuals. Okay, so number 35, please.
Okay. For those who desire to acquire this preliminary understanding through our works, we recommend the following order. 1. What is Spiritism? This booklet of only 100 pages or so presents a summary of the principles of the Spiritist doctrine, a general overview that enables one to see the whole in a condensed picture. In only a few words, one can ascertain its objective and judge its scope. Furthermore, it presents the principal questions or objections that newcomers are usually inclined to raise. Such an initial reading, which requires but little time, is an introduction that will facilitate a more in-depth study. Number 2, the Spirit's book. This book contains the complete doctrine as dictated by the Spirits themselves and contains their entire philosophy and all its moral implications. It reveals humankind's destiny and provides an initiation into understanding of the nature of spirits and the mysteries of life beyond the grave. By reading it, one comprehends that Spiritism has a serious objective and that it is not a frivolous pastime. 3, the Medium's Book. This book is intended to guide those who wish to become involved with the manifestations and provides an understanding of the most appropriate means for communicating with spirits. It is a guide for both mediums and evokers and supplements the Spirit's book. Number 4, the Review Spirit. This journal is an assorted collection of phenomenological incidents, theoretical explanations, and separate excerpts, which supplement what is found in the other previously mentioned works, somewhat comprising their practical application. It may be read simultaneously with the others, although it would be more profitable and especially more intelligible if one reads it after reading the Spirit's book. This is the suggested order as far as we are concerned. However, those who want to understand a science completely ought to read everything that has been written about it, or at least about its main principles. And they should not limit their reading to just one author. They should even read the pros and cons, the critics, as well as the defenses, and learn about the different theories in order to be able to judge by comparison. In this respect, we neither recommend nor criticize any work, because we do not want to influence anyone's ability to form his or her own opinion. In adding our brick to the building, we only fill out our own practical niche. It is not our responsibility to be both judge and litigant, and we have no foolish pretense of being the only ones capable of spreading the light. Rather, it is the reader's responsibility to separate the good from the bad, the correct from the erroneous.
Thank you. So again, Isidore Kardec suggests that it was available at the time. The what the Spiritism is a very tiny book in which Kardec proposes imaginary individuals, that have questions that combat Spiritism. The question was all real, question that he heard, arguments against what Spiritism proposed that he heard, but the individuals making those questions are fictions. And it's quite easy reading, short. That is a good introduction of what is Spiritism for anyone who may be interested. Then comes the most important book of the doctrine. It is the Spirit's book, and the only reason that it's more important because it encompasses the whole doctrine. It encompasses the whole other books. It's divided in 4 parts, and each part then becomes one whole book, right? Like for example, the Medium's book is all part 2 of the Spirit's book. And the Medium's book that you are reading over here explains, of course, mediumship from its scientific science of observation, how it happens, explains the mechanism of approximation and of perispirits, the mechanism of the expression of the thought of spirits, and the thought may be expressed verbally, only writing, and explains all the physical phenomenon as well. And then the Spiritist Review, a monthly publication of Kardec that brings many examples of mediumistic facts and explains further all the things that it is in the Spirit's book. Now, the whole collection is available also in English. Just if you read those notes down there, everything is available in English, not only in French or Portuguese anymore. And it's available
up to 1863. Not after
the whole thing?
No, not yet.
Okay, so up to 1863. When does it start?
58.
58. So there is plenty to read right there.
Yeah, there are
Okay.
6 already, 6 editions published in English, and 5 to go, I think.
And it's monthly, right? So each year
Well,
you
yeah,
have
each year covers the 12 months,
the
right?
12 months. So there's a lot of reading in there.
Yeah.
Okay. The most important thing here for me is in Kardec says that for those who are interested in the doctrine, and of course, there always a degree of questioning, of being very careful, and Kardec suggests exactly that. Be careful, go slowly. Read the pros and cons, the critic as well as the defenses, and learn about the different theories in order to be able to judge by comparison. The honesty and the scientific mind of Kardec goes so far as to say, don't take everything that, even what I'm presenting to you. Go read those who disagree. Make your own decision between what I'm presenting, the arguments that I'm giving to you, and all the arguments that goes against the ones that I propose. And you make your decision. I think that is the most important fundamental of the doctrine, is to educate our ability to make decisions for ourselves, but to make decision with basis, with foundation on something that we analyze, that we do our hard work to reach those decisions. And in order to make them, I cannot just look at one side. I need to look at different sides, make the comparisons for myself, see what's more reasonable, see what's more agreeable with intelligence, with reason, and then make my own decision. And I believe Kardec is so certain that the individuals who are truly intelligent and free thinkers will take the side of spirituals because it's the most reasonable, it's the most logical when it comes to basically to our life, physical and a non-physical life. But declares clear for him that you have to make the decision, but don't make the decision just based on your background, just based on your prejudices. Extend your potentials of analyzing things. And I think to me that is the most attractive part of the doctrine, is this almost a requirement that you have to think and you have to put some work, intellectual work, before you come to decisions. And it's not by chance, of course, it's not by chance that the next chapter now is a chapter of theories. The Kardec tells us, read everything. Read what's good, what's on our side and what's not on our side. See what everyone is saying. There are lots of theories out there, and I'm going to present some to them, and I'm going to defend our point based on what they are telling us. You see here the sequence of events of Kardec. Start from Are They Spirits, the very thing that you read in this book. A methodology of how to talk to people, to challenge people to read everything, and not only asking us to go in and see those who reject what we present. Kardec takes the opportunity to present those rejections in his own book. So here, let me show you what they're telling that it's wrong about us, and I will present my point of view why they are wrong and not us. As the honesty and the scientific methodology is what gives the strength, the veracity of this theory. So I don't think there's even any need for comment on this very reading that we just did. So let's go with initiate chapter 4 theories.
Okay. Number 36. When the strange phenomenon of spiritism began to occur, or rather, when they began to recur in these latter days, they engendered more doubt than anything as to their reality and even more as their course. When they were verified by irrefutable testimony and by experiments that anyone can conduct, the result was that everyone had their own way of interpreting them according to their own personal ideas, beliefs, and prejudices. Hence, numerous theories began to appear, which carefully observation will reduce to their real worth. Spiritism's adversaries soon saw in these differing opinions a counter-argument, alleging that spiritists themselves were unable to agree with one another. It was a very precarious reason, however, when one considers the fact that the first few steps of any developing science are necessarily uncertain until time enables the gathering and coordinating of facts into a set opinion. As facts become complete and better observed, premature ideas are set aside and unity of opinion is finally established, at least concerning the fundamental points, if not as to all the details. Such was also the case with Spiritism, which was unable to escape this common law and which, due to this very nature, gave rise even more to a diversity of interpretations. Nevertheless, we can state that in this sense, its advance has been much more rapid than that of older sciences. Medicine, for example, which still continues to divide the best scholars.
Okay, so ela tendo something new is present to us, a new science, a new phenomena that is happening over there. The intelligent person, and everyone is intelligent, everyone has intelligence. We have some common questions, right? And the question be what? What is happening? Who? Who is doing it? How? How is it being done? Or how does it happen? Why? We all understand want a cause, because nothing happens without a cause. That's one of the fundamentals of science, right? And what for? There is consequence, right? How can it help me? How can it harm me? Should I run away from it? Should I go towards with this, or should I be away from this? Everyone will have those questions, and this is science, right? What science does is exactly answer those questions, right? If I throw a rock up in the air, it comes back down. So you want to know why. You want to know how. And science, the physical side goes and explains everything, right? It go up, it stops, and then it descends down because of the force of gravity. Everything is well explained. And we have the same question for all sciences, the ones that deal with the physical phenomena, the social phenomena, right? And with the spiritual phenomena, there is a science called the spirituals that provide unfortunately today's few answers for a lot of the phenomena that happens of spiritual nature. So in science, everything starts with theory. And if you go to the dictionary and ask what is theory, there will be a bunch of words, hypotheses, premises, suggestions, and so forth and so on. There's about 70 words that can be used instead of theory. But the theory is the better word because it's one that science uses, right? From theory, you develop tests. For the tests, you use the test for observations. After the observation come to analysis, after the analysis come to conclusions. And depends on the conclusion, saying, yeah, this is true. Or it's not. and even may become a law. When it becomes a law, it means that it was tested repeatedly and always come to the same result. So it's no longer just a theory. No, it's a law. Gravity today for us is a law. Evolution is still a theory. Why? I'm not sure, but it's still a theory. It's not a law of theory of evolution yet. Should it be? Who am I to answer that, right? And since Spiritism is also a science that deals with spirit as a spirit, it should have all these theories. Are all the theories good? No. What Kardec is telling us that it's very proper. It's proper of human. It's proper of any intelligent being when they are confronted with a new phenomenon, when they are confronted with a new science, or so a new happening, get a questioning. You know, at one time you would see thunders and lightnings up in the sky. You see, you observe, but you don't know what it is. Would you ask what, how, who, what for? Science explains. When the tables start to levitate and inanimate objects start to give intelligent answers to questions, all those questions were valid. What, who, how, why, what for? And of course, each one will answer those questions in accordance to their own background, to their own prejudices, to their own ability to expand their limitation and go beyond that prejudices. Those who were not able to do so get stuck and perhaps do not accept what's the truth being presented after tremendous hard work of Kardec, right? And because they're stuck in their own limitations, they got stuck with those theories. And Kardec presents why those theories and presents his own argument of why those arguments are false. Those theories does not have foundation, does not have the truth with them. And this is what this chapter is all about. His present was the theories and the counter-argument of Kardec. Comments, questions? Okay, 37.
Okay, number 37. To methodically follow a progressive order of ideas, it might be useful to investigate first the so-called negative theories, that is, those proposed by the adversaries of Spiritism. We have already refuted such objections, both in the introduction and conclusion of the Spirit's book, as well as in the shorter work entitled What is Spiritism? Thus, it would not be worthwhile to return to the subject in full here, and we will limit ourselves to summarizing in a few words the reasons upon which the objections are based. There are two types of spirit phenomena, those involving physical effects and those involving intelligent effects. Since they do not believe in the existence of spirits, they do not believe in anything apart from matter. It is understandable that these adversaries of Spiritism will also deny the intelligent effects. As for the physical effects, they comment on them from their own point of view, and their arguments can be summed up in the following theories.
Thanks.
Okay.
Kardec says that I would like to propose first the theories of the adversaries of Spiritism. And who are the adversaries of Spiritism? I think we can put them two major groups: materialist do not believe in anything outside of matter. Everything, all the phenomena that happens is explained with the physical, with the material. There is no such a thing as a spirit. Impossible to argue if they cannot go outside of their limitations and consider the possibility of something extra physical, extra material. We are done. We covered that in the previous chapter extensively already. So the materialist, number one. And two, the spiritists, the spiritualist. We are spiritist, and being spiritist, we are spiritualist, right? So spiritualist are the opposite of materialist because they believe in the spirit. They believe in something that is extra physical, that is extra material, right? They become adversary of those spiritualists, become adversaries of spiritualism because they reject some of the fundamentals of spiritualism, such as mediumship, such as the communicability between the two planes of existence. They believe that there are two planes, but they do not believe that is the communication, the exchange of ideas, of thoughts possible, right? And they reject another very important foundation of the doctrine, which is reincarnation. The spirits, when their body dies, they go back wherever they go back to, and they don't come back. Or they will come back on at the time of the last judgment or something like that. Or they will believe in the resurrection of the body, which we also reject. Those would become primarily the adversaries of spiritism. When it comes to the materialist, the intelligent phenomena is completely impossible to argue with them. And the physical phenomena, the phenomena that addresses our physical senses, that's why it's physical phenomenon. We can hear with our physical ears, you can see with our physical eyes, we can smell with our physical olfactory system, right? We can touch with our physical fingers. That's why the physical phenomenon. They will, given all the possible theories, and all that's based, and I forgot to mention that, to the fact that they saw the phenomena, they saw it happening, they cannot deny that it happened, okay? They saw, I don't know, a table lifting up in the air. They saw a inanimate material giving a certain number of reps of noise that corresponded to one letter. And when they puzzle those sequence of reps together, it will form words. They saw it happening. They cannot deny that it happened. Now they have to give their justification, their argument, their theory of how did it happen. Since they do not believe in the spirit, everything has to come from the physical world. They come out with their own theories. And the first one is the charlatanism, which we are going to read now. Any comments there before you read?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Number 38, the charlatanism's theory. Among the antagonists, many attribute the physical effects to fraud due to the fact that some of them may be imitated. This supposition would turn all spiritists into dupes and all mediums into charlatans without even considering these individuals' status, character, wisdom, and honorability. If it deserved any kind of response at all, we would counter that some of the phenomena of physics have also been imitated by stage magicians, which proves nothing against the real science. Moreover, there are persons whose character dismisses any suspicion of fraud, and one would have to be completely lacking in good manners and civility to dare to tell them to their face that they are accomplices in charlatanism. In one very respectful meeting place, a gentleman who regarded himself as well-mannered made an observation of such kind, and the hostess said, "Sir, if you are not satisfied, you can get your money back at the door." And she pointed to the door, implying what would be best for him to do. Should we affirm that there have never been abuses? If so, we would have to believe that humans are perfect. Instead, they abuse everything, even what is most sanctified. Then why would some not also abuse spiritism? But the fact that something can be used wrongly is no reason for one to prejudge it unfavorably. We can determine the good faith of others by the motives behind their actions. Where there is no profit to be made, there is no motive for charlatanism.
Okay, so the first one, it becomes kind of offensive and derogatory to many honest, dignified individuals, good citizens, honest people who becomes a practitioner, a student of spiritism, right? In every field of human activity, there will always be dishonest people. There will always be egotistic, selfish individuals who will seek to get something out of it in a personal means, being honest or dishonest. So there are those who fake the physical phenomena for profit. There are those who would stage theatrically pseudo mediumistic phenomena. It is absolutely true that it happened and happens today. The same way there are those who will stage anything. There are false doctors out there. If you go to the news, you're going to find lots of individuals practicing medicine without being a doctor of medicine. There's people doing contracting for renovation of houses and stuff there, not properly trained to do so, not having the proper education studies to do some aspects that require civil engineering, they require an architect. They come in and they say, oh, they know what to do, and puts us in trouble. Wouldn't that not happen when it comes to mediumship? Would that not happen when it comes to things that are basically invisible, that you cannot see those spirits performing the physical phenomena? It becomes even easier for charlatans to fool us. But then to assume that all spiritists are dupes, it's quite offensive. That all of us would fall easily prey to those who want to take advantage of our faith, of our beliefs, of our inability to see the tricks behind of it. It's quite offensive. It's derogatory. What made Kardec give his first steps toward the phenomenon that was happening in France at that time with the sciences was exactly that. There was some people that deserved his attention, that deserved to be listened to because of their moral qualities. You thought, well, if those individuals are going to those seances and are participating in those kinds of activities, I should go and verify, because those are individuals that I can put my absolutely trust. They are honest individual. They are not dupes. They are not going to be easily fooled by anything. And from there, everything is started. Things in the Spirit's book, and Kardec makes a comment that, yes, there are people making false wine over there. The bottles of wine, they never see a grape in their lives. Does it mean that all the wines are fake? Because there is false doctor practicing medicine without a proper license, does it mean there are no real doctors helping human beings out there? But again, because the phenomena happens with invisible individuals, intelligent source behind the phenomena are invisible to us, it becomes easier to put up stages, theatrical false phenomena. So there is charlatanism out there. There was at that time, and there is today. And there will always be for as long as human being does not elevate morally. There are those who try to get a profit, and the profit may be just plain money, but very often they just want to have their name recognized into falsehood. They just want to be placed on some kind of pedestal. There are many ways that we seek recognition, not always plain monetarily, but usually the main reason is money, right? And that's why in spiritualism we seek to eliminate that source by not charging anything. That's why we call here mediumship with Jesus, that seeks only to provide assistance to ourselves, to learn, to educate ourselves, to resolve some of the issues that can be resolved, and equally important, to help others, incarnate and discarnate. Mediumship is an excellent tool to assist individuals to resolve many problems, incarnate and discarnate, without seeking any profit. Once you accept monetary retribution for your work, it places you in a position of perhaps having to fake a communication, not to have to give you the money back. All right, next. Any question, comments, please go ahead. I understand it's be hard to have any questions and comments because things over here so clearly placed by Kardec.
Okay.
Number 39.
39. The madness theory. Out of condescension, some dismiss any suspicion of fraud and assert that those who are not fooled by others are nonetheless victims of self-deception, which is equivalent to calling them imbeciles. But when disbelievers are less tactful, they frankly state it is a simple case of madness, unceremoniously attributing to themselves the sole privilege of sanity. This is the main argument of those who can come up with no better reason. Moreover, this form of criticism is proven foolish by its own frivolousness, and it does not deserve the time that would be wasted in refuting it. Besides, spiritists are hardly affected by it. They courageously follow their path, consoled by the thought that they have many people of uncontestable merit as their companions in misfortune. In fact, one would have to admit that this madness, if it may be regarded as such, displays a peculiar characteristic. It seems to show a preference for reaching the most enlightened class of individuals, whom Spiritism presently counts as being by far the majority of its adherents. If among them there are a few eccentrics, they pose no more of a threat against Spiritism than do religious fanatics against religion, maniacs against music, or mathematical maniacs against mathematics. All systems have their fanatics, and one would have to be very obtuse to confuse the exaggeration of a system with the system itself. for a broader treatment of the issue, we would refer the reader to the booklet, What is Spiritism? Or the Spirits Book, section 15 of the introduction.
Okay, so the madness theory. Personally, I don't think any more offensive and derogatory than charlatanism. If it takes the dishonest aspect of it, it replaces the stupidity, replaces the it replaces the dishonesty with stupidity. That those who believe, those who follow Spiritism, go in a state of madness. They enter in the process of self-deception. They choose to believe in the unreal, choose to believe in the false, and they call it that madness. To me, it's equally derogatory. It's equally offensive. And by putting us in that category, it places themselves, as Kardec places over here, unceremoniously attributing to themselves the sole privilege of sanity. So in order to be a sane person, you could not be spiritist. You could not be spiritualist for the materialist, right? The truth in it is in the very end when they say all systems have their fanatics, and one would be very obtuse to confuse the exaggeration of a system with the system itself. And this is a very important statement over here. The communication happens, the physical phenomena happens, the intelligent phenomena happens. We need to educate ourselves to present what happened and do not go beyond it. And do not make pseudo statements about it. Exaggeration generates fanaticism. Once you become a fanatic, you have a tendency to go beyond the fact. You get in a state that you cannot separate the truth from the falsehood. The problem that we see right now in our eyes, if you put on the news right now, you'll be individuals believe in absolutely falsehood, especially today's with the internet and ability to express our thoughts in a matter of seconds to the 5 continents. And once you become a fanatic, you lose the ability to reason. And when you lose the ability to reason, you expose yourself to not only believe in falsehood, but even more dangerous, to spread falsehood. And unfortunately, it happens even with spiritism. And it happens, Kardec puts over here, with religions, with the mathematics, with the music, and in any field. Once you become a fanatic, you lose the ability to reason. And then you believe in things that are completely false. As a crazy example, once Jesus said that if you have faith of the size of a mountain, you could move mountains. And then you state that a group of spirits performed a physical phenomenon and they moved a mountain, geological piece, a real mountain, physical mountain from point A to point B. And if you are fanatic enough, you actually believe it. You'd actually believe that it happened. Those are the most dangerous individuals for spiritism, is the risk that comes from within. it places on a position that now we start to believe in things that are not really possible or just not true. It may be possible, but not true. That's what leads to obsessions. That's what happens of mediums, true mediums, receiving true communications and putting them out there without analyzing, without reading, without really putting the proper effort to separate truth, reality from fiction. It happened then, it's happening today, especially today with the facility that we have today to publish stuff, to go into the internet. And again, the internet carries this huge risk. It's the necessary evil in our lives today. It's very good, but it has its risks. But again, we cannot say that every spiritist now has madness. Every spiritist now is a fanatic. Every spiritist now we believe in everything that comes from the spiritual world. And every spiritist now we believe in every phenomenon that happens out there. But one of the things that I always tell people, we don't believe the same thing come from the spiritual world, is a mediumistic phenomena when all the other possibilities are ruled out. Or there's a noise coming from the wall of my house. There's a spirit trying to tell me something. Yeah, you sure? Did you rule out all the possibilities? Or there's noise of animals, noise of the wind, noise of a pipe, everything else. You rule out everything else, then you can consider the possibility that indeed it's a spirit trying to tell you something. And then we're going to ask, who is the medium around of physical phenomena that provides ectoplasm for this to happen? So a true serious analysis might be done before one say, oh, the noise in the wall of my house is a spirit trying to talk to me. And unfortunately, those who believe on that. Those are those that fall in this category of the madness here. That is the one that also put the doctrine into danger. That makes a fool of themselves and makes a fool of all of us. But there are true physical phenomena that happens, that the walls start to make noise, and it's not really spirit trying to communicate with us. And you only take that possibility once everything else is ruled out. Okay. Questions, comment?
Yeah, I think the problem with the fanatics is a serious one, right? Because we find religious fanatics that are doing a lot of damage, and in the name of religion, we have committed so many crimes throughout the centuries, and continue to do so, right?
Yep.
So, unfortunately, at our stage of evolution, humankind and the spirits that are incarnating now, that are coming with their preconceived ideas and their blind beliefs, they can do a lot of damage. And as you said, well, the internet is spreading all this false information, and people get the information, partial information, believe in the information, and spread the information, and it's something that we will need to learn as we go, and eventually, we'll find ways to separate the good from the bad, but it will take some time. And what we can do is be very cautious with our approach, not to spread information the moment we receive, which is something that people have been doing, right? You receive a message, and I've seen this, message from Chico Xavier about friendship, and then they forward to a lot of people, and then you read the message and they say, "This is not Chico Xavier. He wouldn't write this." And of course, no source. So whenever you are before forwarding something to other people, check the source. See if it comes from a true source. See if it comes from something that it can be verified. Passages, normally when I look at passages received from messages received, I look, where does it come from? Where do you find it? In which book do you find it? Where is it? And if there is no reference, I just discard, because again, go back to Kardec. It's better to reject 10 truths than accept one lie, and it's better to not forward 10 truths than to forward one lie. And we should use this in our social media activities as a way of be very careful with what we see, what we receive. But and again, going beyond the fanatics, there are people that are not fanatics, but they seriously believe in misconception. You have people in religions that they are not fanatics, but they believe what they are taught in the religion. So let's say some religions that believe that all communications that come from the spirits are communications from devil. So they reject all communications because once they were told that the communications all communications come from the devil. They're not fanatics per se. They're just following what they've been taught without even reasoning and questioning it. So again, we have to understand that the law is of progress, and the truth will always prevail, with a lot of possible damage along the way. But we should try very hard not to be the ones causing the damage along the way, and trying to illuminate with what we have, work to learn what we don't have, and move forward, right? Because you can get easily discouraged if you start looking around and see everything that is happening in the world today. But there is only one path, and it's forward. So we need to make the best of our opportunities to learn and to evolve.
And I think this is very important in our lives today, to everything that we are going through these days right now. Emmanuel says that the greatest charity that we can do to the doctrine is to spread it, is to pass it along. I would say that, yeah, that's true, but before we do that, the greatest charity that we can do to the doctrine is educate ourselves in regard to the doctrine. Is to understand the doctrine itself before we start passing along, without passing not our personal opinions, but what the doctrine truly is. And that's require time, that's require educating, that's require reading. You mentioned something very important when you receive passages of books and things like that. There you go and check the source, and everything else is very important. One thing that is very important also is somebody published, let's say, one sentence of a book, and you go and check out the sentences there. Take the time to read through four, five sentences above and after that sentence. Because what people does right now, people doing that very often now, is that they take that statement and use that statement in a completely wrong or false idea for what the true author is trying to say. They just take that little piece, one sentence, sometimes not even a full sentence, and build a falsehood on top of that. But if you read a little bit above and below that sentence, you see, now I know what the author is really trying to say. It's not what that guy on the internet was telling me. If you just take the sentence, becomes easy to build. The very famous example is when John Lennon said, "We are more popular than Jesus." And the whole pseudo-spiritist Christian community, and I say pseudo because the true Christians would not act as they did, were ready to put Jesus on a crucified John Lennon at that time. But when you read the whole interview, everything that says before and after, he was absolutely right. When he says that he went traveling to the top of the Himalayas when they were under that mystical phase of their lives, they could hear their own songs playing in the radios over there, and for individuals who never heard of Jesus in their lives. And they said, in that scenario, they had become more popular than Jesus. Absolutely true. But those who didn't like the Beatles for whatever reason, the pseudo-Christians, just took one sentence. We become more popular than Jesus. And there was enough for him to the Beatles even being banished in some areas of this world. Completely false. The statement's true. He did say that. The context, what was built behind that was completely false. So you have to take the time, not only to verify the source, but to go a little beyond, read a little bit farther above and below of the sentence to make sure that what's the way the sentence is being used is truth in accordance to what the author is trying to say. And especially today, I have to do those because it's been very common. It's been there, and that's causing a lot of damage to a lot of people. And to the same point, in this book, Kardec's telling us here, don't read just what I'm telling you. Go read the people who disagree with me. Go read, see what they're saying. What's happening today is the opposite. We become more and more radicals and getting the fanaticism that Kardec's point to us right now. This is so contemporary, so up now in our lives, especially with the social media that now we can enclose ourselves into little groups and read only what we like, only the way we think, and never give an opportunity to expand our horizons and see what others are saying also, so I can make intelligent conclusion decision for myself of everything that is happening around us.
Yeah, that's a very good point also. But on the when you think, oh, but all is lost. No, it's just a learning process, right? So we used to live in ancient times or 2000 years ago in small groups where everything outside the group we didn't know anything, and we're not prepared to deal with, right? An average person on the Middle Ages would never have traveled more than 30 miles away from when they were originally born. Average, of course, there were people traveling around the world with the discoveries and everything, but an average person would never travel more than 30 miles far from where they were born. So you can imagine that all the beliefs and concepts of this person was on the community, everything that the community they believed on and were told around them. They didn't have any access to any external information. So, I think nowadays we are kind of going back to that in the sense that we are immersing ourselves in our own groups and our own small communities, But eventually, you know, Renaissance came, and the knowledge and the beliefs spread, and the different opinions spread out. So we're going to move into that. I don't know how, I don't know when, but you know, we will get over that phase and move to a different phase, right?
Yep. I think this is something that could lead to 1 hour of discussion easily of everything that is happening to us today. Here, they need to get outside of the box. They need to expand ourselves. That's the only way that we're going to eliminate the radical behaviors that are seen out there. That's the only way that we're going to protect ourselves from believing and following lies out there. Let's go to the next one.
Zoraida?
Number 40.
Yes, please.
The hallucination theory, another opinion which is less offensive because it has a scientific nuance, entails attributing the phenomenon to illusion of the senses. Thus, observers might be of good faith, but they see something that is not really there. When they see a table rise and remain suspended in the air without any visible support, it means that the table did not actually move. Their seeing it in the air is due to an illusion of some kind of refractory effect, like that which makes us see in the water a reflection of a star or some other object that appears to have been dislocated from its true position. That may be possible, but those who have witnessed this particular phenomenon are able to affirm that the table really was suspended because they were able to walk underneath it, which would have been quite difficult if it had not actually left the ground. Additionally, many times after having been raised, the table breaks when it hits the floor. Could that also be an optical illusion? A well-recognized physiological cause may undoubtedly make us see something turn which is not actually moving at all, or make us feel as though we are spinning when in fact we are standing still. However, when several persons are gathered around a table that is pulled by a movement that is so rapid that it is difficult to follow, some are even knocked down. Could they have suddenly been overcome with vertigo, like a drunkard who believes he sees his house pass right in front of him?
So the hallucination theory, it's actually one that I don't find offensive, because it's possible, right? The illusions are possible. They are phenomena that we see there. They're natural or they are created. Okay, there's lots of optical illusions. I mean, you might see a wall in front of you, and then you see somebody walking right through that wall. And then you see that it was an art created, okay, that what you see in front of you seems to be, to the physical eyes, on a wall. But that wall does not really exist. And you see somebody walking right through that wall, and you say, wow, what's going on over here? So what do? You test to get close to it, you try to put your hand in it, then you see there is no wall there. There's a lot of optical illusions out there, and I'm going to read next to here, auditory, what they call auditory hallucinations, that also happens. So those are all possibilities in nature and are artificially created. But it does not mean that everything that happened is an illusion, the things that really happened. We can create the vision illusion of a floating table. That can be done, especially now with technology. I really admire these people at the 1850 who created all those illusions. I mean, they are really good, really smart, right? Today, technology, it becomes so much easier to create a lot of things, a lot of illusions being visual, auditory, and even the illusion of smells is being created these days, right? Even the illusion of taste. Somebody may give something to it that tastes perfect like an orange and never have any kind of orange. They always be able to create that taste that is an illusion, that it fools your taste buds. You can do that today. So it doesn't mean that there is no real orange out there. The same way they can create pseudo illusion of physical phenomena does not mean that there is no real physical phenomena. If you see a table floating, it may be an illusion. If you can walk underneath that table, it becomes much less likely to be an illusion, but it could still be. But if you see that table falling and have its feet broken, then it's no longer an illusion. Then now it's a fact. There is ways of separating falsehood from truth. So the theory of hallucination is the one that is saying, yeah, it's possible, but it's also possible, and it is factual that the physical phenomena also happens. One must do the diligent, and here's where tremendous research is required in some cases to separate what is an illusion, natural or artificially made, from reality, right? I mean, you see a rainbow in the air, it is factual, but it's a natural illusion, basically, right? It's just refractory of light that you see over there, those little division light of colors in there. It's not really real. It is the refraction is real, but if you go over there and try to touch that blue light or that thing, the violet light, it's not really there, but it's true, right? So this theory is acceptable, it's not offensive, but we cannot say that all the physical phenomena is an illusion. Some may be false, but just because some are false doesn't mean that others are real. And the next one, you follow the same analysis, but instead of being a visual, the illusion of the senses in the next one will be auditory, will attract our ears.
People ask, many people that are new to Spiritism ask why the physical phenomena are no longer part of Spiritism in a more ostensive way, meaning it doesn't happen all the time in different Spiritist centers. There are very few. I know of a couple in Rio that still have materializations and these physical phenomena. And I heard yesterday a very interesting piece of information. There was a famous medium of materialization in Brazil in the 1920s called Ana Prado in Belém, in the north of Brazil. And she produced materializations. So for some years, she was not a Spiritist, she was a Catholic, but a lot of people would go and watch the materialization. And at one point, they did a research of people that went there and see the materializations, and of around 400 people that watched materializations, only 2 dedicated themselves to study and to try to understand and became Spiritists in a sense. The other 398 saw it, liked it, and they continue with their lives without any changes. So, that's the reason why materializations and physical phenomena are no longer part of the dissemination of spiritist theories, because they have an effect, a temporary effect that does not it doesn't stay with people. People tend to, if you see such spirit materialize in front of you and you tell your neighbor either is going to think you are crazy or is going to say, oh, cool, and move on. So it doesn't make any difference. But if someone reads something from a book, Intelligent Phenomena, book received by the spirit, it may benefit, it will benefit much more for sure. And again, all books from Chico Xavier are there to prove, right? All the materializations that he, as a medium of physical phenomena, also produced. There is very few people that are still here that saw or can tell about them. Divaldo being one of them.
Yeah, where are all the answers if physical phenomena would really turn people into believers and practitioners of spiritism? France would be the capital of spiritism in the world, where all the sciences, all the physical phenomena happen over there at the time of Kardec, right?
Yeah.
Okay, number 41.
Yep.
Okay. The crackling tendon theory. If such were the case with the sense of sight, it would be no different with hearing. But when all the raps are heard by an entire group, they cannot reasonably be attributed to an auditory illusion. Also, we have dismissed the whole notion of fraud, since attentive observation has proven that there was no fortuitous or material cause involved. It is true that a learned physician has given the peremptory explanation of the matter, according to his own opinion. The cause results from the voluntary or involuntary contractions of the muscle tendon of fibula. And with respect to this subject, he used the most complete anatomical minutiae to demonstrate the mechanism for producing these crackling noises, to imitate the beating of a drum, and even perform rhythmic arias. Thus, he concluded that those who heard the raps from a table are victims of either a hoax or an illusion. This fact in itself is nothing new. Unfortunately for the author of that alleged discovery, his theory cannot explain away all the cases. First, let us state that those who are gifted with the strange ability to make the tendon of the fibula or any other tendon crackle at will and play musical arias are exceptional creatures, while making tables crackle is quite often, and those who have that ability rarely have the ability to do the other. Second, the learned doctor forgot to explain how the crackling tendons of a person who is motionless and at some distance from the table can produce vibrations that may be sensed by the touch, how the crackles can be heard by the participants at will and in various areas of the table, in other furniture, in walls, in the ceiling, etc. How finally the action of the tendon can extend to a table that is not being touched at all and make it move by itself. Besides, if this theory really explained anything at all, it would only invalidate the rap phenomenon, but would not apply to all the other modes of communication. Consequently, we can conclude that its author has judged without having seen or without having seen everything sufficiently. It is always lamentable that in addressing a subject they are unfamiliar with, scientists hurry to give explanations that the facts themselves belie. Their own knowledge should make them more circumspect in their judgments, especially when such knowledge broadens the boundaries of the unknown.
Okay. So basically, the hallucination theories is the one that deals with possible verified illusions. Some of those illusions are visual, some of auditory. The crackling tendon theory, to me, is just plain laughable. When I first read this, I was going to go and research on this doctor who came up with this theory, but then I decided that I made a reasonable decision that no, it's so ridiculous that I can use my time reading things more more productive to myself. So I don't know who this doctor is, and truly don't really care. Again, it is possible that a spirit can make noise come from inside of a wall. That was the case of the Fox sisters, right? It is possible that they can create what's called a tiptography, making tips noise. These are all physical phenomena. But it's also possible that I can do this in a way that is hidden, that nobody sees me doing it, and I say that it's spirits that is doing. It's up to you to believe or not. It's up to you to investigate and see that I'm creating this falsehood. It is possible that I created the illusion that this that is happening in my home now be happening somewhere, let's say, behind of your computer that you're using there. Right? It's not coming from here, but it's come from somewhere way far away, far from me. So it could not be me doing. I can create that illusion, perhaps. But it doesn't mean that all the tipologies or the tips that can be produced by spirit are not real anymore. And this doctor came back with this crackling tendon theory. A tendon is a connective tissue that connects muscle to bone, right? So every time that you do a movement on your fingers, on your legs, there is a tendon that is connecting a muscle to a bone, and a nerve will contract or extend that muscle, and by doing so, will move the bone, and by move the bone, you move the leg, move the finger, move whatever, right? It seems to me that it's more reasonable to believe that spirits are making noises than to believe that someone has been able to educate the tendon and the fibula to produce rhythmic sounds that actually answers an intelligent question. So I educated my tendon to do, say, this is A, this is C, this is B, right? Educate, everybody agrees. So every time that the table or whatever makes this, I can put those sounds together and create a word. And word by word by word by word, I can create a sentence. I can make a whole paragraph. It seems to be more crazy to believe that I can educate joints to create those crackling sounds than to believe in spirits are doing that. If someone is able to do that, and perhaps it is, if the doctor is saying so, it's got to be 1 in a million. And mediums, it's 1 in 10. It's 1 in 5. There's a lot of mediums over there. There's a lot of individuals producing enough ectoplasm that could create a physical phenomenon, and those mediums you live the entire lives without knowing even that they are mediums. There are one producing ectoplasm that is being used to perform those phenomena. It is only through educating ourselves in regard to the doctrine, in regard to the physical phenomena, that you'll be able to explain those noises. And spirituals provide that to us.
Yeah, I put the footnote there if anyone wants to investigate a little bit. Kardec says in the Spiritist Review of June 1859, you have more information about this doctor and his theory.
Have time for more? Let me see. Oh, it's 24. All right, I think we stop now.
Yeah.
Any question and comment?
Just a reminder that this Thursday is Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to all. We will be closed, that's GNY. We'll be open the other days, we'll be open tomorrow, we'll be open, we'll have our regular Sunday meeting, which will be the Q&A session, last Sunday of the month, okay? The United States Spiritist Federation talk every Saturday. Also, we won't have this Saturday because of Thanksgiving, but it comes back the following Saturday, December 2nd. Okay.
Just want to make a comment that perhaps some people are they want to jump in the mediumship, the phenomena itself, and so am I. Okay. But I cannot bypass those chapters because what may be something that I have read done before, it may be new for some people, and all those theories are important for us to read and eliminate them for our own minds first before you jump in the mediumship itself. But hopefully soon we will get into the mediumship per se.
I just want to make a comment. I think just by reading it today, I feel like some truths are absolute. Like you're not going to convince the materialists, but they're not they're an adversary of any spiritualist or religion sect, right? Because they don't believe, they don't see, they don't feel, so nothing to say there. So that got me thinking. The second thing is, I think when the idea of the madness, that the theory of the madness, I think Spiritism is so based in logic that the more time goes and the more opportunity we have to study, that becomes even less palpable, right? Because it's just like it falls through the cracks, right? Because a lot of the Spiritist minds, people that are studying and explaining, so much based on logic that the more you speak to those people, the more you know there's nothing to do with madness, right? This is very logical, very structured thinking that is very much aligned with science. So I think maybe at the point of Kardec, that was the thing coming up, and I'm sure to this date, some people may think there's madness involved, but the more you read and study and talk to people that are extremely intelligent, some of the minds that people that explain this phenomena, the less sensical those ideas of mad people would become. Was an observation I made today just by reading this.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's very important. And the previous chapter is very important, is the ability to give us the ability to separate the very intelligent people who are actually interested. Just because you are very intelligent and you are out of the box, you are not restricted by dogmas, doesn't mean that you care to put in attention. I think that there is the greatest majority of intelligent people, not even very intelligent people there. I worked a bunch of really smart people. Young kids are so capable, but they have zero interested in spirituality or anything that deals with the extra physical. And I'm pretty sure, because they're very good people also, if they were interested, they would accept just about everything that the spirituals present to them. Because and perhaps because they are so disconnected from spirituality, it would be even easier for them to get than for someone who is so in depth with other spiritualist movements, who is full of dogmas and leads us to not accept what spiritism has to offer. And I think that the previous chapter gives us an ability to separate those, and just, time. Time is indeed God's greatest ally. At one point, someone will question, and those intelligent people, free of those dogmas, will find spiritism very appealing, exactly because what you said. It goes with science, it goes with reason. it does not offend anyone's intelligence.
Yep.
All right, we're done for the day. Who wants to make the final prayer?
I will. Carol here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Elmo, and thank you, John, and thank you, everyone, for being here and participating. Thank you, Sarita, for reading. Infinite Creator and Supreme Intelligence, we give thanks again for the opportunity to be together as brothers and sisters for our study of the Medium's book. We are truly grateful for the Spiritist studies provided through Allan Kardec's writings and the Spiritist doctrine. This is a systematic study from the following: what is Spiritism? The Spirit's book, the Medium's book, the Gospel according to Spiritism, Heaven and Hell, Genesis, and all the Spiritist review journals. The vast range of Spiritist study is valuable and worthy of our study. May we do so in depth, using our reasoning and assessment. May we help to illuminate ourselves and others who might be interested. Regarding new information from mediums, from other authors, or from internet postings, carefully check the sources for validity with reason and the materials or the physical phenomenon. Don't take it for granted. Check deeply through your own participation in studying it. May we give thanks now to our spiritual benefactors, the good spirits, for guiding and inspiring us today. May we receive the love, light, and peace of Christ within us for our loved ones, our teachers, our directors, the counselors, the mediums, the workers, and all who are participating near and far. We pray for inner peace and especially for world peace and for those who are suffering now in the physical and spiritual worlds. We pray for our center, SGNY, and all Spiritist centers throughout the world, that they may grow, expand, and be protected each hour of the day and night. As we close now, we humbly ask for safety and protection as we return to family, friends, loved ones, and co-workers. May we go forth as beacons of love, of light, of peace, of service, and charity. Blessings for the Thanksgiving season to one and all. So be it. Thank you.